Nominee, thank you. It's probably your last chance to see a mall before it's extinct. Yeah, kinda. Pockets! Needs to be a command. Yeah, I know, right? Wait, Space Daddy? Who's Space Daddy? Who's... Space Daddy. Am I assuming that's somebody from Mando? Captain Pike from Strange New Worlds? I haven't seen that. You're so cute. No, shut up, Sam. I love you. The actor? I don't know who that is. I really don't know. I'm sorry. Do we have a new... Posted the own Discord. Excellent, Ender. Love it. He was in Hell on Wheels? I don't know what that is. Oh no.
They're magical wheel player diamonds. They're gonna show us the way.
Ryder Girl, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate you so much. He was also Black Bolt. I'm sorry. Hold on, I'm looking up the name. Anson Mount. Oh! Wait, who was he in Multiverse? Who was he in Multiverse of Madness? Oh. Pick me up, Space Daddy, let's go! Space Daddy, let's go! He's anyway. Dawn, you rang? Real. Okay. Oof. I'm struggling a little right now. I heard you call for Space Daddy. Space Daddy is not Graceful Dawn. The guy who got what mouthed by Oh! Thanks, Irish, I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks, Dominic. Thanks. I'm a little confused right now as to why? Why must he be so pretty? Okay, but for real though, real talk. We need to have a real talk moment here. So last night, Frozen and I were watching the most recent episode of America's Got Talent because we love ourselves some good old-fashioned trash reality TV, right? And during this, there was this story of an individual. She was a singer, and she had a speech impediment. She stutters. And it was like she only can't stutter when she sings. So we're watching this and the story's all moving and touching, and you know, it's like, oh damn, that's really difficult. That's gotta be really tough. And she sings and it's really, really pretty. But then this is how I knew I'm getting old. I'm starting to get older. The group of judges decided that they were gonna collectively give her the golden buzzer. And I bawled like a bitch. All right? I flat out bawled. And I was like, but why? Why am I in this moment here where I can be like crying like a bitch over a button and confetti? And then I did it again when this country group trio, it was like a girl band, country, all of these gorgeous black women, and they said they were talking about how difficult it was to break into the Nashville music scene because, you know, racism. And they got the golden buzzer. And again, I bawled like a baby. Like, but why? It's a clear sign of getting older. I hate it. I hate it. I truly hate it. Like, thanks. I did not sign up for these feelings. I had so many feelings. I'm like, I did not sign up for this ride. This is the ride I did not sign up for. Thanks. Like, I did not sign up. This was not in the terms of service. This was not in my terms of service agreement. Like, I'm slightly irritated. You saw that when you teared up? That's fair. That started for me around 30 recently, rewatching One Piece. That's fair. I just found something and I absolutely need it. Tell me. You got a lot done. Last I looked, there was a whole uncovered area. And now, like, we've got the whole big strip done. So we've got a couple of the plastic tore funny over here. So I'm going to work the blues as I go up this section next. But yeah, we got a whole section done. Technically, we got a section done. It's exciting. So now, I'm gonna score another section of this plastic. And we're gonna do some more. I look away, things get done. Oh my god. That's super fair. Okay, BK. Do you have that instance with, like, other things in your life too? Example. Thanks, Etsy. Example. Sports games. Meaning, whenever my mom looks away from a game, the team that she wants to root for ends up, like, getting more points. But if she watches said team, they lose horrifically. Zakayla, hello. I need to hydrate. Kay Barton, you're not wrong, my love. Pretty sure that's not how to use scissors. I know, right? I know. But I'm scoring the plastic. How are you, sweetie? Sometimes, yeah, not for sports because I don't watch sports. That's super fair. And it didn't work. So scoring the plastic like that didn't work. Oh, wait, there it goes. Ka-ching! Thank you, whoever did that. I appreciate you. Way to make my day. Oh my gosh. You should check the selfies. That's fair. Puffles. No, I don't. I do not have parchment paper because I'm a really bad housewife. Let's be honest. And I'm brand new at diamond painting, so I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Zakayla, I'm doing much better today. Thank you for asking. Did you find your fabric cutter after ordering the new one? No, still haven't found it. It's somewhere around this office though. Like guaranteed it's around here, but I don't know where it is. Dawn face reveal? All right, I'll check it in a bit. What I've been using for now to hold the plastic up has definitely been masking tape. I don't think that's right, but like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. You can replace the annoying plastic cover with parchment. Oh, that's a smart idea. I fucking hate this thing. Like, I truly hate this plastic so much. And like, here's my other question. Since I'm new at this. With this plastic cover, once a section is completely like done, do I keep the plastic cover on it? Or the parchment on it? Or do I take that off? Use a needle minder to hold it? Oh, super good idea. It's not like I don't have a short supply of those. You don't need to keep it once it's covered in beads. Okay. Well, that's smart. Woo-hoo! Cool. Cool. Okay, so there's a needle minder on. That's smart. I'm gonna also tape this down. I'm really sick to death of it moving, to be honest. So I'm gonna put a couple pieces of tape down to hold it. Yeah, that cake sounds amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want that cake. So I'm gonna finish up a couple of these. I know there's some black diamonds down here at the bottom, or black drills. So we're gonna finish those real quick because that's what's in my tray. And then we're gonna fill the couple of holes that are up here so I don't have to like keep the cover on. Me? I'm streaming.
Guess what I'm doing?
Watching videos without me, Frozen. I'm on the internet! I'm on the freaking internet!
I have to change pants.
Frozen's making fun of me because he saw me editing my Twitch clips together the other day. And if you do !social, I'm putting content up on YouTube this week. What? So, you can see a bunch of Twitch clips, because it's the only thing I can think of right now until I can finish editing another video and recording a voiceover for it. And I also have a video, I have like stuff recorded of when I first started doing this diamond painting, actually.
Keeps winking at me.
She loves you. Put some okay, you have pants on. Really? But you had to lift your shirt up and pretend that you were naked? Okay, excellent. Thanks, Frozen. Whose chat loves who now? What happened? We are adopted by a little Korean granny. I want that. Yes, please tell her that we all love her.
What are you doing?
What are you doing, Frozen?
This is weird. Only weird people do that.
Fits us perfectly. If only weird people do that, it fits us perfectly.
That's true.
You making content? Be still my heart. I know, right? I'm making content.
watching? I'm watching you.
Yeah, but you watched Bussy without me.
Oh no.
Hi, ugly. It's me, Bussy. I love her. She's a great queen. Also, who the hell is texting me? Ah, cool. Okay. You might want to look into drawing board clips. They're metal. Oh, that's smart, Irish. I like that idea a lot. Kamaya, me too. I'm really excited about this one for sure. Detect. Okay, y'all. Hey, Dawn, can I get a shout out for Detect Magic, please? Because this queen, this freaking icon, was making a layout earlier in Procreate and had this starting soon screen and wrong DETECHT. You missed a letter, Dawn. I love you. But she was making this layout earlier, this Halloween layout. Bitch, I want her to make my layouts. Yeah, Dawn, you missed a letter. D-E-T-E. It's right above you. Right above you. D-E-T-E-C-H-T. Magic. Thank you. This polycraftual individual. There we go. I could get it out of my brain now. Polycraftual individual is freaking talented as hell. Go support her, please. You did it, Dawn. I'm proud of you. You're sending virtual cake? BK, I love you. I need virtual cake right now. Okay. So I'm going to put on a couple more dots here because I only have a couple of these colors left, of this color left. And then we're going to fill in these gaps up here so then I don't have to stress out about all of this being open and exposed. Ooh! Come on now. Oh, really? There we go. Bam! Okay. Cool. I'll hold that down for a minute. We're going to do a couple of these blue tones up here because my plastic tore funny. By the way, are we doing show and tell tonight? Just so I know, because I'm a good mod and know things. Graceful Dawn for #1 mod. I know, right? Pix just had his first death. Oh my god, I love that. I actually just finished the stream layout right now. Onto the starting soon screen work. Oh my god, I can't wait. You're gonna crush it. I'm holding Spooter on the shoulder. My cat's giving me crazy looks. I mean, I would also be giving you crazy looks. Spells and Pastels, I love you. Andriel, hello, sweetheart. How are you? Irish, no worries. Enjoy your lurk. Kay Barton, please feel better soon, okay? I love you. Mwah. Feel better. Get some rest. Hydrate. I don't know if this works for anybody else, but whenever I'm sick, like sick, and like stuffy, the flu, whatever the case may be, hot and sour soup is always my go-to. So take from that what you will. Hot and sour soup is always my go-to. So if you need a miracle soup, hot and sour soup or matzo ball soup. Because if you can get like authentic matzo ball soup, hubby makes chicken soup, that's amazing. Confirming numbers and such before I make an order. Nice, Anrield. Love that. I wish Cobra Snake could be a pet, but they're cool because they're cool looking. I can't do snakes or spiders. You're big on hot and sour soup? Oh, thank God, I'm not alone here. Or you make a lime ramen? Girl. What? Make it gluten-free and I'm there. I need to really behave with the gluten thing. I've been very poorly behaved regarding gluten the last few days. And honestly, it's causing me problems. ASMR moment. Is that ASMR-y enough for you? ASMR diamond painting. Our God. Maggie, thank you so much for the host. I appreciate you. How are you? You use rice ramen? No gluten needed. Detect. I'm on my fucking way. How close by are you? Because, like, I got some problems that I need some ramen. I'll do caldito, which is chicken broth done from scratch. Oh, that sounds so good, Anrield. Bam bam! Our godmom used to make macaroni, egg, and oil soup when we were sick. It's like egg drop with noodles and less broth. That sounds good, though. I'm in. If you go to Costco, they make a nice ramen that's really yummy. I need a Costco membership. Does anybody want to get me a Costco membership? Because, like, I need a Costco membership so bad. If you're ever up here, I can feed you so much ramen that you'll roll home. Perfect. I'm on the way. I am so down. I'm so down. Like, I don't think you understand. I fucking love ramen. Like, I truly love ramen. It's so bad for me. But I love ramen to pieces. Both the person and the food.
Bing bong.
Bing bong! That's a hydrate, I believe. Yes, it is. Thank you, Maggie. I will hydrate in just a second. Gonna get the last 3 done for this color that I am able to access for the moment. Oh no, I screwed that up. Oh no! Haha! Saved! Okay. So this is gonna be a fun one. There we go. Woo! Okay. Hey, look, Mama made it. Okay. Let me put these away and then I gotta get that hydrate. Which Costco does ramen? I need to know. Puerto Rican food is good too. I've never had real Puerto Rican food. If you were gonna have Puerto Rican food for the first time, and you're not completely afraid of spice, but like you don't want your insides to die, what would you recommend? They sell rice ramen noodles, which are gluten-free. Okay, but I still need that. I still need that. Important question. Do you like Game of Thrones? Ender. Does a duck with a boner drag weeds? AKA yes. I love Game of Thrones. And also, hot take. I'm not completely mad about the end of season 8. Not completely mad. I think they could have drawn it out a little bit longer to show Daenerys' descent to madness, but I'm not completely angry about it. Mofongo? Okay, Anrield. I've heard of Mofongo. Because, you know, diners, drive-ins, and dives. And it looks amazing every time I see it. I need to find a place. You're gonna make egg rolls for the first time? Okay, I'm in. I love them. I love egg rolls. She had better. Okay, if anybody hasn't seen the sneak peek of the Loungefly Game of Thrones bags, you need to look them up. Because the Baratheon bag, the Joffrey Baratheon bag for Loungefly, for Game of Thrones, is like jaw drop. Like the Baratheon bag, I'm dead. I need it. I fucking need it. The Targaryen bag is okay. It's pretty, but like the Baratheon bag is where it's at. And I need it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. There's none. Oh my god, really? You want the Targaryen bag? It's pretty, don't get me wrong. I want both, and I'm gonna get both. But I see myself using that Baratheon bag so frequently. It's genuinely painful. Well, Dawn, the Targaryen bag is white and gold. It's not normally what I would have associated. You'll DM the thing? Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, the Targaryen bag is white and gold, and the Baratheon bag is red and gold, and it's... I never thought I'd like the Baratheon bag more, but I totally do. Mama Luna and I have been, like, talking every single night. And, actually we've been talking, like, multiple times a day. It's been nice. I think my mom is finally, like... The sale of Nana's house went through, so I think now she's, like, officially, like, lonely. Like, she's actually lonely now. So we've been talking, like, all the time. Be right back, gonna go grab something to eat. No worries, Ender. Dawn, I know, I saw. I'm still more amazed that you put your face on TikTok. mom has energy for normal stuff now. You know, maybe. Well, but Wish, the other thing about that is like, my mom didn't have a ton of activities that she did before. Like, she didn't have hobbies. So my mom's in this new phase of her life where she's like trying to figure out her hobbies, trying to discover what she likes to do. So like she's been to like a couple cooking classes already. She's like there's just a lot. Like I don't think my mom really knew how to be by herself because she took care of my Nana for like 30 years. Like, she pretty much exclusively, like, in her free time, took care of my Nana. So, my mom's on this discovery journey. Like, let me tell you, Mama Luna booked a cruise. Like, a Viking River cruise. Mama Luna booked an international cruise. This is not my mom's type of thing. Like, in the whole entire, like, my whole entire existence, she's never been a super duper adventurer. So she's like, yeah, I'm gonna book a Viking River cruise with your aunt. Like, okay, work, mom, get it. And then she's like, yeah, we're gonna make all these different pit stops, and like the last stop is in Budapest, and we're gonna stop in Cairo. We're gonna stop in all sorts. I'm like, the fuck are you? Like, she's like, oh no, I don't think she's going to Cairo. I think she wants to. But, like, she's making all these pit stops on this Viking River cruise, and she's, like, gonna do all sorts of things. Yeah, she's going to fucking Budapest. I'm like, you bitch. I'm like, you bitch. You're not taking me. I hate you. But, like, she's coming to visit me first. Like, she's coming to visit me in September, at the end of September, like, right after my surgery. She's gonna be going to see her sister in like a couple of weeks. And she's like, eventually I want to go to Egypt. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my mother? I think her coping mechanism now is to travel. I think her whole coping mechanism now is, hey, let's travel. And honestly, I'm not completely angry at it. I'm like, go mom, go! Like, it's a weird translation. You go, now I can do what I want. That's fair. That's super fair. I think that's a really interesting way to put it. Because, like, she never got to do what she wanted. These last 30-something years, she had between taking care of me, taking care of my dad, and taking care of Nana, she's never really gotten to do her, you know? She's never really gotten to just be herself. And it's so strange to see her do it, because I've never seen her do it. But I'm like, alright, mom, like, work, like, let's get it. Pack me too, right? I swear I'm carry-on size, right? Maggie, wait a minute. I think there was a place in Denmark on the list. I think there was, but I'm not sure. I have to double check. Pack me too. We're all gonna get packed. See, I can get castles and wine on the weekend, so that's fair. I'm 5'1" if it counts. The Viking cruises on the Rhine River, it's all castles and wine. Oh my god. I've never done a Viking cruise, but Crafty Cove Sardines. Oh my god, I love you all so much. You all are my favorite people. Do you know that? Pack me too, right? I'm 5'4", I can be compacted. I wish I had enough money, right? I know, right? Prince, thank you so much. I appreciate you for that host. History. My mom is going on a Viking River cruise with my aunt. So we all are like, but can we go too? We're carry-on size. And it's all we've ever wanted. We're like, we're small and compact. I promise we'll stay out of the way. is. Jesus Christ. Back now and the T has been spelled. Excellent, Tanya. I don't need ankles. It's fine. Oh my god. I don't need ankles. It's fine. I'm fucking dead. Y'all have me dead today. I love you. Oh, did I not get it? I didn't get it on my actual... Okay, we gotta do the awkward lift and things because I'm not putting these back in the jar while I have them out here. That's what she said. Excuse me? They have a crochet cruise once a year? I want to go to there. Okay, there's a cruise I do want to go on. And I'm pretty sure I actually can convince Frozen to do this cruise. So, if you ever look it up, it's called 70,000 Tons of Metal. And it's all the music him and I love. But it's like a week straight of non-stop sets. And then you go to the Caribbean. But it's like it's a concert cruise. It's fucking awesome. And there's like usually like 15 or 20 bands that play. I want to do 70,000 Tons of Metal so badly. Yeah, Tanya's the tall friend at 5'5". It's true. There's also a Star Trek. There is a Star Trek cruise. Also, Chris Jericho hosts his own cruise every year. Abort 70,000 Tons of Metal? Why? Why? Nominate. Tell me more. I only have an inch left to go to the hair accessory. Hell yeah. Mr. Tech is 6'1". Whatever height I lost, I found within. I'm 5'6". I'm also not a yogi. It's okay, history. We'll find a way. Whatever. We'll find a way. If you look up the crochet cruise, they have one. I need to. I know there's a quilting cruise. My birth mom and her mom do the quilting cruise every year. Or not every year, but I know my birth grandma. Oh my gosh, Dinosaur, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate you. But nominate, in all seriousness, I'm genuinely curious about why we're saying no to 70,000 Tons of Metal. It's something I've wanted to do for years. Prince, enjoy your lurk, my friend. I hated Jar Jar. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right, we're gonna do some of this stuff down here. So, let me see. There we go. 70,000 Tons of Metal, like, it sounds so great. And there's always a lineup that I enjoy. But I'm pretty sure it's also on a Royal Caribbean ship. Which, Royal Caribbean. Yikes. If you have room with 2 beds and you do not take another couple with you, they assign another couple to you? No! Why? That's awful. I'm assuming you're speaking from experience. To fill all the beds? That's awful. Yeah, I would save up enough money to buy the second bed. I would genuinely save enough money to buy the second bed. Like, to be honest. 'Cause that's awful. How long ago was that experience for you? Out of curiosity. They need a coffee tasting cruise? I'm in. I'm into it. If anyone wants to go to Norway, let me know and I'll pack you in my bags. Ender, I love you. Thank you. If I had the money right now, I'd say let's do that because I would love to. I was so excited that my company booked separate rooms for my travel this week. I do not want to share a room. It's very true. I hate sharing rooms. Maggie, you're not wrong. I do need to hydrate, my love. You went in 2019? Oh shit, so that was like recent. Couldn't get to a lot of the shows due to stairs because they're shit for handicap access. That's awful. I hope to God you complained. Like, I really do. You went to Norway when you were 13 with church? Nice. I was so excited. Yeah, the separate travel, like the separate rooms for travel is exciting because Detect, a lot of companies are ending up doing that nowadays. Because it's like, sharing a hotel room is a really intimate experience and you don't need that with your colleagues. Like, you don't need that with your colleagues, like, in all genuine seriousness. If you ever go to Norway, let me know and I'll show you some amazing places. Ender, done. I'll let you know. Yeah. I've been told that diamond painting pens are called Drildos. Yeah. A bit. A smidgen. A touch. Emily, but listen, that's different. We had adjoining rooms. Emily, that's totally different. We had adjoining rooms. And we were good with we were good. Alright? This is different. And there is a definite video of you being drunk off your ass and dancing in the hotel room. And I am not mad about it. Because I too was that wasted. So, like, I too was equally wasted. Yeah, I can't unhear that now. Detect, you dumb. I love you. I'll have to make you food. Oh, fuck yeah, I love food. Try a week residential trip with year 6 and having to share a room with another teacher who snores and paces all night. Yeah, no, I'm good. Read all the menu drink offers. The one that we got didn't include any drinks. Yeah, so that's the thing. I've been on Disney cruises before, and that's the first thing you always purchase is the drink package. It's the first thing you always purchase when you're there is the drink package. You never go without the drinks. Ever. Maggie, amen. I love you. It was fun. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Emily, if you and I could room together or be in like adjoining rooms, I would absolutely do it again. 100%. Like, if it was you and me rooming or you and me in adjacent rooms, like, 100% would be okay. It's certainly ergonomic. Mood. You went full Karen on the cruise line? I am so glad you did, because that's bullshit in every way, shape, and form. I'm gonna focus for a second. Try to get a corner done. Do you design crochet patterns too, or only cross stitch? Currently only cross stitch. Currently. My goal is to one day start designing crochet. I would love to. I honestly think designing crochet would be such a challenge, like such a unique challenge, and something I've never done. I'm not gonna say when because I don't know when, but I would love to. I would love to try. What's focus? Fucking mood. Fucking mood. No, crochet I don't do. Bad day for dyslexia, yeah, no. I only do cross stitch for now, but eventually one day. No, and the other goal is to actually write a crochet or a cross stitch book. I actually want to write a cross stitch pattern book. Like, it's a legit goal on the goal list. Like, I have an idea in mind. Like, I have an idea and theme in mind and everything. Come chat with me. Sweetling, hello. How are you? To quote my husband, my wife is a kaiju. Okay, yeah, get fucked. Okay, I'll get distracted for a moment so you can get a corner done. Thank you, BK. I love you. That is a satisfying sound, like fidget popping. Yeah, isn't it though? You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna make a big Game of Thrones blanket with my favorite houses. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. One new craft a month. I love it. I know, right? It is difficult. No, but I mean, now I want to start putting out YouTube content. And I know that's like a fuckload extra responsibility on my plate on top of everything else, but I want to do it slowly. I don't want to like fully go in. So like, by the way, that's happening. So if you go !social, I have a YouTube channel linked on there. If you could go and sub to that, please, I would appreciate it. I've got clips coming out in the next couple of days. And there's a whole entire, like, clips montage coming. But outside of that, what you're going to probably see for the next little bit is, like, uploading some of my TikToks. And then I'm actually uploading the old episodes of the podcast because, like, that was a thing long time ago in a galaxy far away. I'm re-uploading the podcast just to have something up there, just so it has, because people asked me a long time ago to upload it to YouTube, but I didn't have the ability to create videos on my main PC. But now that I have the ability, I'm finally re-uploading them. Took me long enough. I'm flying alone on Tuesday and I'm scared of who you'll be sat next to. That is so true. I took a Trailway bus once to Michigan, and a guy I didn't know fell asleep on your arm. Ew, that's the worst. That's awful. I'm so sorry for your, like, on your behalf. The coupon code for the episode still works. It's true, but we'll talk about that at some point. But, like, I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea for now while I try to start filming some content in advance. Because I want to film probably not the most informative stuff at first, but, like, just after stream crafting, like, film some of it and put some voiceovers to it. And, you know, just try to make something where, like, you can craft along with me. But you can do it on your own schedule. So then that way, if you can't be here, that's okay. We can still do our check-ins. You can leave comments. And then eventually what I want to do over there is not get the blue tack all over my nails. No, what I eventually want to do is I want to actually make my own tutorial videos, like for beginners cross-stitch, because I was thinking about this. I currently link out to somebody else for my beginner's cross-stitch tutorial videos, like in patterns and stuff. Why am I linking out to somebody else when I could link to my own stuff? I'm confident enough to make those videos at this point in my stitching experience. Like, I know I'm not, like, I'm not an expert, but, like, I'm confident enough to teach basics, you know what I mean? There's a cat hair in that. we not? Can we not have a cat hair in that? Like, I'd appreciate it. Bum ba dum bum ba dum bum bum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum. There's a gnome bee in the website. Okay, perfect. Both my girls are laying on. You're like, oh, how cute. My friend said, next time take a dummy doll. I love that. Unlimited power of self-promotion. Oh my god, Irish, I love you. How do y'all crafters keep your pet hair out of cross-stitch crochet? I don't. The only one I can truly answer to, Tech, is cross-stitch. So sometimes with cross-stitch, what I've ended up doing, first of all, lint roller. Second of all, occasionally, tweezers. If there's like a really bad one, tweezers. And third, I end up washing my finishes, not like in a machine, like hand wash in a bowl of like room temp water with a drop of Dawn dish soap afterwards. And I do that to clean the stitches and make them poofy anyway, but then I can also like rub over them and like grab any pet hairs out.
They're gonna show us the way.
Baked Cupcake! Oh my god, I love your username! Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate you. Drop of dish soap. Why are you using a drop of Dawn soap? Dish soap, not me, because I cause stains. So Dawn is a brand out here, and that's the brand I end up using the most. You can use most dish soaps. I tend to go with the blue one. There's one specifically in Canada that's blue that's supposed to work really well, but I forget what it's called. All right, we're gonna go on with 742. What's that about mastering a skill in 1,000 hours? Sapphire? Lady Sapphire. I am a basic. I know basic mastery. I don't know like detail mastery at all. How are you, honey? 10,000 hours. Now that makes a lot more sense. Hide your soap. You done? Oh, headbutts. Oh, headbutts. Good girl. Can I have one more? Oh, thank you. You called Cash in the room? Aw. You made your soup too spicy? Oh no! Yeah, Cammy, that's Luna Bear. That's who everything's named after, is the black kitty. Be prepared to wake up with a diamond stuck to a random body part. I've had that happen already. I had it stuck to my foot, and I'm like, I don't understand. Why is it my foot? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, she's a pretty girl. Okay. Back to it. We got more of this color here, so now we can go back in. But how is everybody's weekend? If you are just joining, hi. My name is Liz. I'm Sleeping Luna Designs, and I'm a squirrel that drops diamonds, apparently. My primary craft is cross-stitching, and I also just burped on camera and it was gross, and I'm not even sorry about it. Sorry, not sorry. My primary craft is cross-stitch, but everybody on stream convinced me that I would like diamond painting, so on Amazon Prime Day, I picked one up, and spoiler alert, I'm obsessed. So we diamond paint now. I have diamonds stuck in my boobs. Okay, that's move. Shine bright like a squirrel. This stream right now. That's super fair. This is very shiny because of, you know, the plastic. But I'll figure something out at some point, eventually. And also, I bought another diamond kit already because I love this first one so much, I bought another one. So we're gonna do this one at some point on this stream. And while oh my god, that's Aberkatrina. Oh my god. Raid! Exclamation point, welcome our raiders! Katrina, you freaking gem! Ah! How is your cosplay stuff going? How close are you to being done? Oh my god! Thank you so much for shouting out Katrina. I love her so much. If you don't follow her, you're screwed up. By the way, Katrina, did you tell them it's after hours? Because I do cuss a lot. Gracie! Daggett! Foxy! Doodle! Elle! Oh my god! There's so many people here. Hello! You did say that? Okay, perfect. Oh my god. I fucking love you. I wanted to make sure before people came over here that they knew. It's Aberka After Hours. Hey, sweets. How you doing, babes? Bluebee, hello!
Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime.
Thank you for the resub!
They're magical little player diamonds.
They're gonna show us the way. Laurel, thank you. I appreciate you, honey. I love you more, but seriously, how did the cosplay stuff go?
They're magical little player diamonds. They're gonna show
My
us the
weekend has been
way.
work. Only good is some stitching. Mint, hi, honey. I've missed you. I mean, obviously, but like, what have you been stitching? Fantastic. My cat snuggled up. Fuck yeah. I'm in. I'm here partying. Whoop, whoop.
They're magical little player diamonds. They're gonna show us the way.
Baby girl, thank you for that follow. I appreciate you. And Muttbag, thank you for that follow. It's good. It's like I can see the show. The embroidery is working. Oh, thank God. Thank God. I'm so excited. Listen, if y'all don't follow Aberkatrina, you need to. She's a seamstress extraordinaire. I don't understand it. I wish I had like
They're magical
a
little
glimmer.
player diamonds. They're gonna show us the way.
Thank you for the duck roll, and thank you so much for that follow, sweets. I love you. Thank you. And also for the squirrel. I appreciate that. Get Foxy Gabs, no worries, honey. Thank you for coming on in. Love, love, love. Raiders, if you don't know who I am, Hi. I'm over in Katrina's stream a lot. I like to harass her a lot. But hi, I'm Liz. I'm a squirrel. I mostly cross stitch, but I do other stuff. And apparently my new thing is diamond painting. So, hi. Welcome.
I'm gonna meow the f out of you.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
And I am still a piece of garbage. Thank you. And also thank you so much for those bits, Laurel. I appreciate you. You're such a sweetie. Duck. Duck. I know, right? Duck. This sun and moon is looking good, Gracie. Thank you, babe. In case you're curious about it, this kit is like $9. It's only $9 on Amazon, and there's a coupon that you can clip with it. So, like, go grab it. Katoma, was that you with the nice? Oh my god, it's so good to see you. How are you, babes? Yeah, a deal, $9. Yeah, and it came with everything. It didn't, not this tray. It came with a much smaller tray, but like, $9. It's not bad compared to the Diamond Art Club thing I just bought. This Diamond Art Club piece was like $45. It was expensive, but the quality, I was actually just about to show this right before you came in. So it's kind of good timing. Also, by the way, Katrina, go do your post stream. I love you, but you've been streaming for a while. Like, you went live just like almost an hour before I did. So like, go chill. I love you. Diamond Art Club is expensive, and this kit was on clearance. Just posted a pic. Oh, thank you, Min. I love you. It's Goose, Liz. Duck, duck, goose. It's fair. It is duck, duck, kyonk. It's duck, duck, kyonk. Show and tell? No, not right now, Dawn. That requires a lot of extra, like, moving stuff around, so not right now. You're gonna have dinner. Okay, love you. So excited to tell Brunch I said hi. But, like, listen, y'all. Look at this canvas. This is like a velvet back canvas. And it's so much nicer. Like, the quality difference between this on my table and this in my hand is like massive. Like, you can feel the difference essentially immediately. And then all the diamonds are right here, or drills rather. But, and all the other supplies are nicely bagged. The difference is wild, and I can definitely